I'm actually motivated to make a video now because this is actually a project for a class I'm taking. We can completely ignore the fact that I haven't posted a video in... Oh my god! Also, it's gonna be a bit of a shorter video as I had less time, and my longer videos usually take about a month or two to make. When adapting a story to film, there's always going to be something missed. The average length of a film is 92 minutes, whereas the average length of an American novel is around 360 pages. And simply being read aloud, it would take anywhere from 15 to 18 hours to finish. Due to this, many details need to be removed in order to adapt a story to the screen. But this isn't always a bad thing. In 2003, filmmaker Bruce Schwartz adapted Alice Walker's classic short story, Everyday Use, into a 23-minute short film. This film, while keeping many of the fundamentals of the story, made some drastic and subtle changes that allow it to stand out from the original and become a new work of art beyond just being a new medium. Also, I recommend seeing the film or reading the story at some point. I think they're both great. In making a film, certain details are impossible to replicate visually. While the short does feature narration in the beginning, it is often considered taboo among filmmakers to have it anywhere else. Due to this, a large section of the story is left out entirely, specifically Mama's descriptions of her past life with her daughters and Maggie's current tendencies. Rather, the film opts to give this information out sparingly, leaving the audience in the dark about the past. Throughout the film, we see in Dee's performance that she holds much more anger towards her family than the original story leads on. Her expressions are often judgmental, and her line delivery is rife with a new sarcasm that couldn't have been possible in a written text. By adapting to film, a new interpretation of Dee's characterization was introduced in a subtle way that was unique to film as a medium. One small but important detail is that the film removed the line, "You don't have to call me by that if you don't want to," in reference to Dee's new name. In the original story, Dee was much more complex in how she interacted with her family. There was an air of mystery to her, but it was clear that she respected her mother and loved her deeply. In the film, first signaled by the absence of this line, Dee is much more cold and less understanding. While this side of her rears its head in the end of the story, it is always present in the film. About halfway through, there's a solid minute or so of completely new material. Due to the audience no longer being able to hear Mama's thoughts, the animosity between her and Dee needs to be communicated verbally. Dee makes a backhanded remark about the directions, and Mama airs her grievances outright.
Well, it's a wonder we found this place. Mama isn't so good at directions.
It's not hard to find, Dee.
One Gerald.
One Gerald. You lived here most of your life. You know these roads.
Yes, but I haven't been here in what, 4 or 5 years now? And Mama, one dirt road looks exactly like the other.
2 letters in 6 years.
Excuse me, Mama, what did you say?
That's how much you writ me since you've been gone.
Well, I was busy getting an education, and then there's a movement, and...
2 letters in 6 years?
It's as I said. I've been very busy, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
As you may have noticed, one of the biggest advantages the film has over the story is its use of timing and silence. With a written work, timing is something the author cannot control, as a reader can read as fast or as slow as they wish. The film rather decides to enforce a deep sense of uncomfortable silence. The gaps between the dialogue and the original story are filled with Mama reminiscing about the past or her thoughts on the people in front of her. But in the film, they are not filled. The actors have to show what they're feeling without any words, which means the audience is stuck in the present with a much more objective look at the family and their struggle. My favorite example of the visual storytelling is in the very beginning. Since most of the backstory is skipped entirely in the film, they have to quickly introduce Maggie as a character. I believe this is done very effectively in this short shot in between 2 title cards. Maggie is shown in a dark room, holding onto a baby doll and crying upon the realization that Dee is coming to visit. The story implies that Dee treated Maggie poorly, but this shot right here is the most we ever learn about how Maggie sees Dee. She is terrified. Throughout the story, Maggie is shy and quiet around Dee and her friend, but this very shot shows us all that we need to know. I believe this makes the moment that Maggie stands up to her all the more powerful.
She can have them, Mama. I can remember Grandma Dee without these quilts.
It's very easy to miss, but right there, Maggie emphasizes the word I. With this line delivery, Maggie not only proves that she never gets anything in life, but also that Dee doesn't respect the heritage as much as she says. In the end, the animosity is much more clear in the film. They cut out Dee giving Maggie a kiss on the forehead before leaving. This version of Dee is completely done with her family. She is furious. After Dee leaves, the film has Mama hum Amazing Grace. This shows that she knows everything is going to be alright. Dee will eventually grow out of this, and Mama forgives her already. I think this is a great way to portray my favorite line in the story, which is, "And then the two of us sat there just enjoying until it was time to go in the house and go to bed." Obviously, I think I'm a little biased when it comes to this comparison, as film is by far my favorite artistic medium. But honestly, I think many people look at adaptations the wrong way. In art, originality is important. Thus, I think when adapting a story from one medium to another, changes must be made. If this was a line-for-line recreation of everyday use, then the film would be almost entirely worthless. I think it's good for an artist to add a new perspective to a work while making it their own as they adapt it to a new medium. Since film adaptations have been a thing, fans of books have been complaining about accuracy. This is an awful way to look at work of art. Art is supposed to be expressive. It's supposed to be a reflection of the creator. If a written work of literature resonated with the filmmaker enough for them to wish to make a new art out of it, then I think it's good for them to alter it in ways that make it resonate with them even more. Is one work better than the other? No, of course not. Alice Walker and Bruce Schwartz have entirely different perspectives on life and live in entirely different generations. I think it's best that we analyze an artwork on its own, even when it's an adaptation. Comparisons are fun, sure, but at the end of the day, these are entirely different.